everyone, and welcome back to Anytime Español.
Today is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to test your knowledge using one of the most important verbs in Spanish, haber.
Beginner students first learn to use haber in its impersonal form, which is used to indicate existence.
Right, when we say something like, there are a lot of people in the city.
Hay mucha gente en la ciudad. This use of haber isn't doing an action. It's just showing that something exists.
And when haber is used impersonally like this, in the present tense, it will only ever be conjugated to I. And it means there is or there are. So it doesn't matter if what follows is singular or plural, it'll always be conjugated I. For example, there is a parade.
Hay un desfile.
There are many parades.
Hay muchos desfiles. So it doesn't matter whether it's just one parade or many parades. We just use hay.
Now, this impersonal form also exists in the past tense, where we have había or hubo to mean there was or there were. It could be in the future tense, habrá, meaning there will be. In the conditional tense, habría, meaning there would be. And we can even have it in the subjunctive mood, haya or hubiera. So, the two key things to remember to use haber impersonally like this is number one, it will only ever be conjugated into the third person singular form. And number two, it's to show existence. Let's just see two more quick examples. We could say something like, there was a problem with the reservation.
Hubo un problema con la reservación.
Or, I don't think there's enough time.
No creo que haya suficiente tiempo. So, if you understand that and can use haber impersonally, at least in the present or past tenses, you pass the beginner level.
Now, intermediate students learn how to use haber to form the Spanish compound tenses. This is when we use haber as a helping verb with a different verb in its past participle form, like this. I have visited that city several times.
He visitado esa ciudad varias veces.
In this example, he is the present tense yo form of haber, and visitado is the past participle of the verb visitar. So together we have he visitado, meaning I have visited. So with the compound tenses, in these cases, we do conjugate haber based on the subjects yo, tú, nosotros, ellos, as opposed to always keeping it in the third person singular like we did when it was used impersonally. So let's see a couple more examples. They would have gone with you, but they had to work.
Habrían ido contigo, pero tenían que trabajar.
So we have they would have gone, habrían ido. It's in the conditional. Whereas if we have something like, hopefully everything has turned out well.
Ojalá todo haya salido bien.
We know that we have to use the subjunctive always after ojalá, so then we have the subjunctive haya and then the past participle salido.
If you understand that and you can use these compound tenses, you've definitely passed the intermediate level.
Okay, so that's our quick little review before the quiz starts. Now, if you had a lot of trouble with that, or you want to go back first and study how to use haber impersonally, or if you want to check out our playlist on the compound tenses, we'll leave those links in the description of this video. But if you're feeling brave, let's put it all together and test your Spanish level using the verb haber.
In these sentences, haber can be used in any form and any tense or conjugation. So, ready? Empecemos. Cuando llegué a casa, mis hijos ya, blank, cenado. Cuando llegué a casa, mis hijos ya habían cenado.
Here, we're using the past perfect compound tense used to show that an action had already happened before another past action. So, when I got home, the children had already eaten.
Para cuando llegues, nosotros ya, blank, terminado todo el trabajo. Para cuando llegues, nosotros ya habremos terminado todo el trabajo.
Now this is the future compound tense used to show that an action will be completed before a future moment. So by the time you arrive in the future moment, we will already have finished our work. It'll already be completed.
No blank, un escritorio del tamaño correcto para la oficina. No hay un escritorio del tamaño correcto para la oficina.
So here we're not talking about an action, but rather the existence of something. So we need to use haber impersonally, and it's in the present tense, so we have I.
Si tú blank firmado el contrato por un año, nosotros blank recibido las llaves del departamento. Si tú hubieras firmado el contrato por un año, nosotros habríamos recibido las llaves del departamento.
Okay, here we have a C clause to talk about something that could have happened in the past but didn't. Now, whenever we have this structure, the subordinate clause is always going to have si and then haber in the imperfect subjunctive, so hubiera. And then the next part in the main clause will always have haber in the conditional tense.
En el evento pasado, blank, más de 100 personas. En el evento pasado, hubo más de 100 personas.
So this one is a little bit tricky because you could technically use había or hubo, but in this case, we're just reporting the event. It's a completed event or action, so we're going to use hubo. Now, if you really were describing the experience that you were having back then, you would want to use había, so tricky.
Para mañana, el médico blank terminado todas las consultas programadas para este mes. Para mañana, el médico habrá terminado todas las consultas programadas para este mes.
So again here, we're using the future perfect tense, where it shows that something will be done by a future certain time.
Tú, blank, visitado a tus padres cada fin de semana desde 2022. Tú has visitado a tus padres cada fin de semana desde 2022.
Here, we're using the present perfect tense to describe something that has happened repeatedly up until now.
Si no fuera por tu rapidez, blank, ocurrido un accidente. Si no fuera por tu rapidez, habría ocurrido un accidente.
Here, we're using the conditional perfect tense to talk about something that would have happened.
No creo que blank tanta gente en el concierto de mañana, aunque sí blank mucha gente el primer día. No creo que haya tanta gente en el concierto de mañana, aunque sí hubo mucha gente el primer día.
So in both of these cases, we're using haber impersonally. Now, the first one is in the subjunctive, haya, because we see that doubt. We're doubting something exists, no creo. So we're doubting, we need subjunctive. Now in the second one, we're stating a past fact, so we use hubo.
Emilio blank preferido que le dijeran la verdad. Emilio habría o hubiera preferido que le dijeran la verdad.
So this one is a little bit of a trick. So you're gonna want to use the conditional habría to say what someone would have preferred. Now, in spoken Spanish, especially in Mexico, you're also gonna hear hubiera in this case as well.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you still haven't.
And after this video, if you want even more practice, don't forget that we have a PDF lesson guide that goes along with each of our video lessons with extra examples, more practice exercises, and explanations. So if you're an Amigo member or higher, you can find it on the Publications tab on YouTube, or it'll be as an attachment along with the video lesson on Patreon. And if not, you can always join our community, whether it's here on YouTube or in Patreon. We'll leave all of those links in the description of this video here. Every week, we give a new PDF guide that goes along with each of these video lessons, as well as other amazing exclusive benefits. All right, let's get back to the quiz.
Yo, blank, he estado muy ocupado toda la mañana y seguro que blank sido igual para ti. Yo he estado muy ocupado toda la mañana y seguro que habrá sido igual para ti.
Okay, now in the first blank here, we have the present perfect tense because we're talking about something that I've done recently. And in the second blank, we have the future perfect tense because we're guessing that something has probably already happened. Remember, we can use the future tense in Spanish to either guess or suppose that something's happened in the present.
Me molesta que el supervisor no nos blank explicado bien los planos del terreno. Me molesta que el supervisor no nos haya explicado bien los planos del terreno.
So here we need the present perfect subjunctive because we see our trigger, me molesta, is it bothers me. We're showing emotions, so we need the subjunctive after it.
El abogado cree que ya blank, blank, suficientes testimonios para cerrar el caso. El abogado cree que ya ha habido suficientes testimonios para cerrar el caso.
Okay, this one is difficult because whenever we say that something has existed or has happened up to now, like there has been, we're actually going to have a double haber. So you have the helping verb a and then the past participle of haber, habido. Did you get that one right? Tricky.
Karina dice que nunca, blank, visto un submarino tan grande. Karina dice que nunca ha visto un submarino tan grande.
So here we're going to use the present perfect tense because we're talking about something that someone has done at some point up to now.
Nosotros, blank, determinado que debe asistir al psicólogo cada 15 días. Nosotros hemos determinado que debe asistir al psicólogo cada 15 días.
So here we're using the present perfect tense again because we're talking about something that we've done recently.
Blank, regalos, si mis invitados, blank, leído la invitación. Habría regalos si mis invitados hubieran leído la invitación.
So in the first blank, there would be gifts. We're using haber impersonally in the conditional tense, habría. Remember, it doesn't matter whether it's one gift or multiple gifts. We always use it in the third person singular. So habría regalos, not habrían regalos. And in the second part, we have our si clause followed by hubieran because we're describing a situation that didn't happen but could have under different circumstances.
Tú ya, blank, salido del hospital cuando empezó a temblar. Tú ya habías salido del hospital cuando empezó a temblar.
So here we're using the past perfect tense used to show that an action had already been completed before another past action.
Ellos, blank, construido departamentos comunitarios en la zona rural. Ellos han construido departamentos comunitarios en la zona rural.
Here we're using the present perfect tense to show that they have completed an action. It's something that has happened in the past, but it's relevant up to now.
Blank, mucho humo a lo lejos y no sabíamos de dónde venía. Había mucho humo a lo lejos y no sabíamos de dónde venía.
Here, we're using haber impersonally again in the imperfect tense because we're describing what was there or what the situation was like in the past.
Aunque blank, blank, dificultades en el proceso, los ingenieros ya blank encontrado una solución viable. Aunque haya habido dificultades en el proceso, los ingenieros ya han encontrado una solución viable.
Okay, so this one is really tough. In the first part, we again have the double haber. But why do we have haya habido and not ha habido? So haya habido, the subjunctive, is going to be used whenever it doesn't really matter if there were difficulties or not. Whereas we would have used ha habido if we want to emphasize that there were difficulties. That's a fact. This is more like uncertainty or it doesn't really matter. And in the second part, we're using the present perfect tense to show that something has been completed. So that's the tricky part of this one is we're kind of saying even though there were difficulties in the process, it doesn't really matter. They've already found a solution. So tough one.
So, how did you do? Let us know in the comments.
And if you thought that this little quiz was really hard, that's because it is, which is why it's so good to practice haber in all of these different forms mixed together from time to time.
Big thanks to Rob Kane for becoming a YouTube member. Gracias, primo. And to Philippe Salen for becoming a Patreon member. Gracias, amigo.
And to Mrs. B. Segi and Sarah for your Buy Me a Coffee donations.
Now, watch this video to keep improving your Spanish.
Until next time.